from the blackest corners of your mind, they call, pulling you deep into shadow, twisting your senses, keeping you from sleep. It's time to face your darkest fears. This is Tales to Terrify. Good evening, children of the night, and welcome. Coming up this weekend, we have another installment of our Patreon author interview series hosted by our managing editor, Seth Williams. If you haven't had a chance to listen to any of them yet, they've been a fantastic way to get to know the strange and twisted minds behind some of our show's favorite stories. This week, Seth speaks with author Hailey Piper. And not only can you get a glimpse into the darkness that drives her writing, but you'll also have the chance to win a copy of Hailey's latest book, All the Hearts You Eat. So, join us on Patreon this weekend, and don't forget your appetite. This week we have two tales for you. First, a teacher makes a chilling discovery in a student's notebook. Then, a woman struggles with family trauma that refuses to stay buried. Our first story tonight comes from Matthew Tyrer. Matthew Tyrer is a writer who grew up in Liverpool, but is currently based in Inverness, Scotland. He has written works published in Trembling with Fear, The Chamber magazine, and the Edinburgh Literary Student Journal. He works part-time at Moniac Moor Creative Writing Centre near Bewley in the Highlands. Children of the night, join me for Matthew Tyrer's The Sketchbook, a Tales to Terrify original.
With the children gone, Kate could finally breathe. She was slouching over her desk, the sound of rain rattling inside her head. As she gazed at the empty seats, the image of feral students still fresh in her mind, she noticed that a small, leather-bound book had been left on a table in the front row. Initially mistaking it for an ordinary exercise book, Kate only realized its more esoteric character once she turned on the light. Its front cover was blank, apart from a few scratches and blemishes ingrained into the leather binding, and upon picking it up, she was surprised by its weight, as well as the coarse texture of its paper. A diary, Kate presumed. But upon opening it on a random page, it was not a handwritten diary entry that she found, but instead a sketch of a man with long dark hair, standing in a narrow corridor with hazed and dreary eyes. His features were rendered in a minimalist style. His hair, a flurry of zigzags and squiggly lines. His face, a cluster of jagged shapes. Kate found that the longer she looked at him, the more a strange sense of revulsion grew inside her. Turning the page, she found the man depicted again, this time leaning over a banister at the top of a staircase, those same crazed eyes choking her gaze. Like before, his figure was engulfed by shadings of gray and black, sometimes scribed so furiously that certain areas of the paper were marked by deep scratches, and tiny sediments of lead had built up in the book's spine. But it was the man's face that most captured Kate's attention. As she stared into his eyes, she became more aware that she was alone. When she heard footsteps behind her, Kate was seized by fright. But upon turning around, she saw that it was only a fellow teacher walking across the corridor, and quickly returned her attention to the sketchbook. Skimming through the next couple of drawings, almost all of them featured the man. He loomed in doorways, stared out of windows, and skulked in dark rooms, always gazing across the page with wild frenzy in his eyes. But Kate was most disturbed by the last drawing in the sketchbook. A close-up portrait. It was the most detailed depiction of the man thus far, showing him with eyes rabid and bloodshot, fanged-like teeth grimacing, and saliva dribbling at the corner of his mouth. She was so perturbed by it that she closed the book and put it back where she found it. But she could not get the man's face out of her mind. How could a child draw such a thing? She stayed there for another 10 minutes or so, although it felt like much longer, watching the world through rain-soaked windows. Then a voice, soft and hesitant, called to her from the doorway. "Excuse me, miss?" It was Erica Layton, one of her more well-behaved, albeit most apathetic students, wearing a drenched raincoat with her hair all dark and shiny from the rain. "You've come back for that, I presume?" Kate said, pointing at the sketchbook. Erica stared at it with worried eyes. "Don't worry, I haven't even touched it." "Thank you, miss," she said, taking it into her arms as though it were a wounded stray. She then hung awkwardly near the doorway, the sketchbook clenched under her shoulder. Kate could still sense the cloying glare of the man's eyes from within its pages. Erica then muttered a goodbye and went to leave. "Erica, wait!" Kate called, and the girl turned to her. There was a great sadness in her eyes. "Will you be okay getting home?" "Yes, miss. I'm walking back with a friend." "That's good. It's getting dark, you see." With a shy smile, Erica looked at Kate for one last time before she disappeared into the corridor. "See you tomorrow, Erica," Kate called after her, wanting to say more. She then stood at the window, and after a few seconds, Erica appeared, walking against the rain with her hood up and her head bowed. "Walking home with a friend, are you?" Kate thought. It saddened her that Erica felt the need to lie to her. But then, as Kate's eyes drifted away from the girl, she noticed that someone else was waiting on a street corner up ahead, and a sudden panic came over her. Stood beneath the glare of a street lamp, he was a tall man, wearing a dark overcoat. His hands were in his pockets, and he stood with a weak, somewhat slumped posture. Although most of his face was hidden behind the droop of his hood, Kate could identify the outline of his thick black hair, which grew beyond his neck. He watched Erica as she walked towards him.
That was Matthew Tyrer's The Sketchbook, as read by Crystal Hammond. Crystal Hammond is a narrator/writer, cancer survivor, and non-binary queer human. They grew up in rural North Carolina, nurtured by a steady diet of local Blackbeard legends and Confederate ghost stories. These nuggets of folktale and myth fostered a lifelong love of storytelling and all the drama that goes with it. They also have a master's degree in biological anthropology and adore ugly cats. Feel free to check out their narration website at crystalhammond.com or find them on Twitter at the KM Hammond. Thank you, Krystal. Our second story this evening comes from Christi Nogle. Christi is the author of the Bram Stoker Award-winning first novel, Beulah, and 3 short fiction collections, The Best of Our Past, The Worst of Our Future, Promise, and One I Opened in That Other Place. She is a co-editor with Willow Dawn Becker of Mother, Tales of Love and Terror, and co-editor with Ai Jiong of Wilted Pages, an anthology of dark academia. Follow her at christinogle.com and across social media at Christi Nogle. Children of the Night, join me for Christi Nogle's Bitter Makes the Sweet So Sweet. First published in Aseptic and Faintly Sadistic, an anthology of hysteria fiction, May 2023.
Slept through dawn and I'm stumbling around the side lawn, trying to hand water the dying grass before it gets too hot. Hose swishing back and forth in one hand, and in the other, a tall metal cup of rich, sweet Irish cream and coffee. Breakfast booze, Mom used to call it. Feeling good in my black shorty pajamas that look like an outfit from a distance. I'm aware of having clean hair and no breakouts. It all brings on a flush and flood of warmth and happiness. Sleep deprivation is a high too sometimes. In his straw hat and shades, Mr. Greenway walks his spotted Great Dane Woody past the front gate. They're blurred at this distance. This time he nods, lifts his hand. It's because the pajamas look that much like an outfit. He thinks I'm dressed before noon and approves. Or does he approve of my free-swinging tits? Could be that. Sweating under them already, sweating along my hairline, starting to count off things needing work. Broken gate, overgrown creeper, potting shed filled with junk for goodwill. Happiness drains out like cool bath water. I look up towards the attic window, look down to the weedy grass, my flaked toe polish, and something. Fox? Kitten? Something small and just as red as my carroty hair backs away behind shrubs. I could almost say it was a sunspot in my eye, but no. I saw whiskers and a pink nose. A kitten, then. Oh, I hope so. I lay the hose to soak lilacs and am heading in for a saucer of milk. But then I glance up at the attic window. Don't know how Dad can sleep so warm. I think of Dad, and instead of milk, I find a stainless steel pan and a tough steel spoon and circle the house, ringing them, so that when Mr. Greenway goes back past, he goes quickly and does not turn my way again. I kept sensing Dad behind me as I did the inside chores and turned quickly each time. But he was never there, so it was safe to open the drapes and blinds above the sink. Always hated doing dishes, even more so with no window to look out of. After chores, still half asleep, I take 90 minutes to shave, soap, shampoo, condition, towel, talc, perfume, blow dry, curl, apply makeup, and mend my pedicure. The floor creaks as I look for my nice sandals. I stop and breathe shallowly, searching the house's sounds for anything wrong. But he must be sleeping. At the store, I get rotisserie chicken, cottage cheese, and bagged kale salad for me. And then because I've been so good, I add red roses, a single slice of chocolate cheesecake, a tub of yellow body butter. Red meat for Dad. Our neighborhood store is sweet. I'd miss it if I ever went away again. Today I count the hanging things: sausages, chilies, piñatas, teddy bears, garlic. When the checkout girl makes eye contact, I have an out-of-body feeling. Sweat at the hairline again and a prickly heat all over. I think of the garlic. Thought I looked good. Or right, at least, but I must not. "How's it going?" she says as she rings me up. "Good, tired." I say because that's what she must be reading. I used to have her job before leaving for college. Could never do it now. She brightens, says something about the weekend, sleeping in. "That'll fix me right up," I say. I think the visor mirror will show an old woman horrid in her paint, a skull in a wig. But I'm still young. Well, middle-aged. Still me, only a little dented under the eyes from short sleep. It's a quaint little small-town grocery. The kind of place where you might see old men gathered around the front step, looking over the paper and trading theories about deaths and disappearances 2 towns over. 3 towns over? Never right here, but in our own backyard, just the same. Long past dinner, he starts making sounds in the attic. Maybe putting away clothes or organizing his books. I forgot he was here for at least 75 minutes this afternoon. I put on sweats and scrubbed my face, made salad, read a while. It was the best part of the day, but not the only good part. This day has been full of subtle, delicious ups and downs, as any day is. I'm going to need to get back to working soon, I say. He reclines in his big red chair, while I try to look comfortable on the sofa. He woke me here a while ago, and we've been watching the lightning outside. The lights are dim, the windows and doors open to breeze and smells of rain. "Why would you need to work?" He sits up so I see his face for the first time tonight. His eyes look bruised, his skin gray. "I got you T-bones and a rack of ribs," I say. Disgust waves across his face. For the meat or me or both? You don't want to work. You just want to go out and buy shit. He rises, reaches into his back pocket. "Here." He tosses something onto my lap. "Go have fun." An inch-thick fold of crinkled bills in no order. 10, 20, 20, 5, 1, 1, 50. "Where'd this come from?" I say. He's standing, stooping over the kitchen sink. There's something sticky on the 50. I reach for my purse on the coffee table. My sanitizer. "Is this blood?" I say. A low growl starts in his throat. A warning. "You told me just deer from here on out," I say on my way out of the room. He said animals, not just deer, but still. On the stairs, to myself, I say, "You promised." He's in the kitchen cursing, but so low as to not draw notice. I don't think anyone's seen him yet. I don't know if they ever will. My father was dead for nearly 20 years. I guess he's been back at least 2. In between, I had a life. Relationships, travel, college, then work. I came back to take care of Mom at the end. Quite upstanding. Most would say that the time I was gone was the only time I really did have a life. They'd say keep your enemies close, too. That's really all I'm doing. And this place is all I have. Everything I've ever owned. Mom's ashes I spread on the lilacs out back. Also, and I don't think about it until I'm trying to fall asleep with the filter off, I think there is magic here. It's shameful to love what defines you, even when it is squalor and disorder. But it is what it is. From my narrow bed, I watch a clear and starry sky. A shape crosses my window. I'm up, out on my balcony, scanning what roof I can see, calling, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty," clear and loud because I think Dad's gone hunting by now. No kitten on the roof. I go down barefoot to search the damp yard. I've wanted a pet all this time. Ever since what happened to Mom's little cat, Tippy. Well, but I won't think of that. "Kitty, kitty," I call. A pet's not safe with Dad here. Straight in the car we'll go when I find her. I'll take her to some nice neighborhood near the school. Thinking of my keys, I turn towards the house, and the dining room window is open, candles lit. Dad sits eating steak. He pulls his lips around it, blood gushing down the crotches of his fingers. He chews, sucks, and spits into a cloth napkin. There's something wrong with his mouth. He leans toward the window. He's crying. "I'm eating the meat," he says. I'm chilled and sad, savoring the feeling of both. "I'm sorry," he whines. Morning again. Coffee, garden hose, raggedy nightgown. Mr. Greenway tries to walk on the other side of the street, but Woody pulls and stands up against the gate, barking. "Good morning," I shout, feeling smug. Maybe Mr. Greenway doesn't have it any more together than the rest of the world. He doesn't wish me a good morning, only curses until he's forced Woody down and away. I see why he was barking. There it cowers under the lilacs, just as pink-orange as Mom's hair used to be in the sun. "Kitty, kitty," I call. It comes to me, slow but confident. I'm not sure if it's a kitten. It isn't a fox kit. I reach. It goes limp in my hands, and I bring it close. It smells like Mom. A bread smell with something green. It must have found a patch of catmint, I realize. We used to have it growing all around. It has to be a kitten. When I've stroked and nuzzled her, I pull a small tick from her back and a tuft of cheatgrass from her tail. She is calm. "What's this?" I say, touching something rough on her foot. The kitten tenses. I rub my thumb over the rough spot. It doesn't budge. It's green-gray. Lichen? When I press fingernails in and pull, the kitten swipes my cheek and bounds away. She turns back a few yards on, hisses, and jumps into the brush. Lichen from the stones beneath the lilacs. Every day I think of leaving. Imagine what I'll pack, how I'll weave around the country and muddy my trail. It isn't so simple. If he can build his body back from ash and go without water, heal himself, if he can fly, and I've seen it, I swear he can scent me out, bring me back, kill me, or keep me where I am with no way of believing it's what I chose, which might be worse. He's been so good, gnawing his steaks, getting weaker and grayer all week. I'm afraid of him most at this point of the cycle. And also, not afraid at all. That part of me's been worn out. I used to blame her for not leaving. I didn't know anything then. She did try, didn't she? Bolted us off to friends in Kentucky that one time, to family in Iowa another. Scratched and bolted. I laughed, low and then hysterically high and loud, right under his attic window. But Mr. and Mrs. Greenway are walking Woody past the gate. Mirrored shades pointed my way because I'm laughing so hard. Because I'm wearing nothing but panties and a wife beater, hose in one hand and bottle of Irish cream in the other, savoring the feeling of not giving a fuck. The kitten toddles into my lap while I watch for lightning on the back porch. I stroke her. Don't want to look at her. Don't want to bond. Dad's out, first time in a week. He'll be gone a long time and come back glutted and sweet. A fat tick. I'm shaking. Yeah, let's get going, I say, rising with her in my arms. A mile is all, and she'll be safe. We'll find a dead-end street with bikes in the yards. When I get her in the car with the dome light bright, she locks eyes with me. Her pupils are large, irises yellow-green just like mine. Just like Mom's. We take off. I'm still shaking, thinking we could beg some money at a gas station and keep driving. I brake hard at the first red light and throw out an arm to stop her falling into the footwell. Remember how you used to do that for me? I say. Even after we started wearing seatbelts, Mom would throw out her arm to protect me. The kitten only stares. Her eyes are black glass lit red then green. If he could come up from ash, I guess you could too. We drive a while. I can't bring myself to leave town or put her out. Images come of our Tippy like a baby in Dad's arms. Tippy's blood on his beard. Mom's eyes emptied in death. I think of myself in a conference room trying to keep up professional banter, trying to speak while staying careful to say nothing at all. I'm just not made for the world, I say. If she could speak, she'd say how much better I have it than she ever did. What's the problem, really? I'm free to go. He's dead. Get on with my life. You wanted to leave too, I think. Wanted to leave the world, that is. I picture the stump with the axe in it beside our woodpile. Isn't that what you'd want? Just go back to sleep, pretend you'd never returned? When we get out of the car, I have a firm enough hold on her to do it. But I can't. I've never hurt a living creature on purpose. Instead, I let her go, and she follows me to the shed. I block the door with a heavy table and sit cross-legged on the top, looking out the door window. She comes to my lap. We scan the skies for lightning, and come 3 o'clock, Dad staggers in the gate, singing. I can't see his face, but I know it's brimming over with joy, as is mine. We savor the pleasures we can. We're in the living room listening to the rain, he with his books and I with a sad little needlepoint. Dad knows I've been keeping secrets. He says, "Don't think I don't smell it on you." You're off your nut, I say, and that's such an understatement. I can't stifle a bark of laughter. He never could abide being laughed at. Get out of the room, he says calmly. I set about putting away my skeins and embroidery hoop. Right now. He growls, his knuckles white on the recliner's soft arms. I head toward the open front door, and he's already blocking it, fed and fattened. but full of rage. He's getting worse. This will only get worse. Do not leave this house, he says. I duck past him upstairs to pace by the window in my room, glancing toward the potting shed. It was always one of her favorite places. She's locked in there now. I imagine her feeling thirst, then hunger, rage, and so on, just as she was locked in her own body at the end. Or maybe she's like him and needs no water now. I don't know. I look over the beautiful and sentimental things in my room. Things she bought me. Things passed down. What would I take if I left? I'm shaking all the time and yet savoring it, loving it. This is the familiar feeling. Moments of terror make me sure I'm not imagining it all. They show me I'm real. I can scratch and bolt too. I've done it before. It's doom, but it's part of the dance. I gather a backpack, a flashlight, my best sandals and pajamas, makeup, books, a photograph of Mom and me on rented horses, a silky throw blanket. All that's left is to wait for daylight. The painted wood window's too tight for silence. As soon as I struggle it open, the attic floor creaks above me. I push a heavy wad of blankets and clothes out onto the roof and over the edge onto the grass. The breakables are in my backpack. I get myself out the window just in time. He's pounding on the door as I find my balance. He's storming through the door. I hold myself low and steady on the roof. "Get back in the house," he says. Of course, fingers singeing as soon as they reach the windowsill. He pulls them back reluctantly. I don't speak or look back. I climb down the lattice and drop the little way onto my pillow sack. His curses are whispers. People are walking dogs past the gate, after all. It's a beautiful morning. Into the shed I go. The kitten and I spend the day arranging cast-off things into an approximation of a home. The threadbare rugs unroll to cover most of the gravel floor. I leave the door open so we can get out when we want to pee. My car keys are still on the kitchen table inside. Or I could bolt for good. Really, I don't think I would. "Do we stay here and kill him again?" I say. I imagine her response. A scoff. "We never killed him." She presses against me, purring. "He won't stay dead this time either," I say. Who cares? If the pleasure's in the killing, why not do it again and again? She is looking less like a kitten. Her hair is thinner, ears shorter. She goes out before dusk and, once returned, rubs her sides against the door. I close it for her. I wrestle the heavy table back into place, spread our bedding upon it. The better to see him, I think. The kitten's not beside me at dusk when he comes scratching at the door like a dog, calling me a whore and all other things like that. But soft. He wouldn't dare make a racket. He's soft enough I hear the creaking rocker. I turn to see her, finally. She's rocking the chair and petting the kitten in her lap, I think, at first. No, the kitten sits flat on the seat. Mom is a gauzy ghost only pretending to touch the things of our world. It makes me so sad. Let him rant all he wants. He can't come in without an invite, she says. The lump in my throat will cut off my speaking, cut off my air, so I turn back to the window. Dad's face holds nothing but pain. "What is that?" he seems to say. His nostrils flare and quiver. He presses to the glass, hands around his eyes. I turn away. The kitten has brought a beeswax candle in her mouth. She drops it on my pillow. It's softened from the whole summer's warmth. I dip a thumb tip into it. Monster! Bitch! He says. But then the wax is in my ears. The kitten rubs her head against me until I make her earplugs too. And then we sleep. We wake late in the morning into a great quiet and clarity. We take out the wax and lie listening to birds. The kitten stretches and stalks toward the back of the shed. How long since I slept somewhere other than my own bed? It's a nice change, I say. There are little pleasures in everything, says Mom. The kitten squats in the gloom at the back of the shed. Mom's spectral body squats as well. In a moment, Mom's spectral hand rakes the gravel. The kitten prances back, pleased with herself. Mom's body is too dim to show in light, but now I imagine it all around the kitten. I would have opened the door. You could have waited. Pleasure's in every little thing when you're alive, she says. She tells me how long it's been since she's had such a good shit. A wave of bitter sweetness comes over me. I'm lonelier since she returned. Clarity. When Mrs. Greenway breezes by, I'm at the front gate clipping the creeper. She sees me, backs up a step. Isn't this looking nice? She says. Just started, but thanks. Suddenly, Mrs. Greenway's hand is on my own gloved hand. If you need to talk, she says. I turn and look up toward the attic. The window's open. I imagine I see a shadowy figure gazing down. All's well, just tired, I say. Well, you look beautiful. Mrs. Greenway takes my hand again, squeezes it this time. And how's Dad? Time stops. Her cragged skin and caked-over foundation come into focus, and then my own reflection in her mirrored shades. As long as you're alive, you can come awake to yourself at such moments. Little pleasures indeed. I am distorted in her glasses, yet clearly well rested, vital, still young. I am gripping Mrs. Greenway's hand tight like a car salesman. She tilts her head like a puppy. Why don't we walk and talk? A half hour later, I feel I've made a real friend. We've spoken of so many things. The weather, my efforts with the house, my plans for the future. And then we circle back to Dad. Why did you ask that? I say. I've seen him on my night walks. I don't always sleep so well anymore, you know. We had a chat or two. Didn't you wonder how he looked so young? I thought he looked very well. It's not nice to say, but it's ironic sometimes how the hard-living ones manage. Oh, but he started out so handsome, too. That helps. Don't you remember his death? She'd been at the memorial. She'd brought us green bean casserole and honey buns. I'd been 15, and the memories set in my mind. Well, yes, and your mother's, but it's not polite to... And nothing's wrong, really, is it? I suppose your mother always said you had, well, a melodramatic streak. She's getting upset. Tight mouth, square shoulders. Why not speak of it? She'd lured me out of my yard for some purpose, didn't she? And then she says something strange. She wishes she'd gone when she was young like Dad did, so that she wouldn't always have to be like this. So old and ugly. It isn't fair. This is weird, I suddenly realize. The ground here is special, she says. I have to get back. I turn and hurry. Wait, she calls. Wait, did I die too? Do you remember? And Harold? I rearrange the shed once more. The rocking chair I surround with her favorite things. It seems an altar. The kitten perches on the chair, says, I always hoped you'd get away from here. You seem to be doing so well. In college? And after? I was and I wasn't, I say. Why is it hard to explain? Did you ever feel like you were stuck in a series of actions? Like a robot was running things and you were only lying back watching what happened? Which should be terrifying. Only you were so numb and the things that happened were so boring. I mean, boring. Conference meetings and performance reviews and mindless, repetitive actions. Even now, I'm not fully candid. It wasn't the boredom that got me. It was the inability to express anything real. The kitten holds her mouth open, that particular way cats do when they smell piss. Just really can't believe I'm hearing this, she says, dropping down and heading toward the gravel. To Dad, I was a silly, spendthrift slut. But it was more complicated with Mom. Sometimes I was all the light in the world. And other times an ungrateful brat. The one because of the other. But now I'm something different. Stop, I say, taking her by the scruff. Go potty outside. Don't want you stinking up the place. Free from my disapproval, Dad leaves to hunt the nearby towns each night, leaving us time to gather food and keepsakes from the house. He must smell us when he gets in, but it doesn't seem to be making him angrier. If anything, he comes later and stays a shorter time spitting his curses. We sleep through most of it, I think. He's getting reckless, Mr. Greenway says, shaking a newspaper at me. Woody's nose quivers and he drools at the gate now. I haven't been able to look the kitten in the eye since I found her sucking blood from a window-stunned pigeon the other day. Her fur is nearly gone. She's restless because she can't stand the sunlight and can't go out most of the night when he's home. Dad has a Harley now. That's part of his recklessness, but a boon for us because we can hear him come and go. Everyone does. Tonight, he rides through the gate, just flattens it down. He's parked and left it by the time I see. His leather jacket hangs from the handlebar. He brought a victim home. I smell it, Mom says, disgusted. You'll be like him soon enough, I say. Or maybe it will take a long time. 20 years. I think he must have started like her, but kept himself hidden while he was weak. Why can't I remember the day of his return? Once I longed for sleep. Now I long for the fog of sleep deprivation. I think back on a day watering the lawn, when I was innocent of many things and happier than I am now. The sadness of that remembrance is its own rare pleasure. Dad has brought one home. I didn't believe it. A leggy woman, drunk. They weave around in the yard now, falling on each other, kissing and dancing. I'm going to go take a shit in the gravel. I don't care, Mom says. Rock out, I say. All his victims. I should have cared about them more than I did, but how could I? They were 2 or 3 towns over, after all. This woman is right here. And she is very like me. Her hair is dark, but otherwise, and he set up the show in view of our door. It makes me sick. I won't let him, I say. There's no pleasure in any of this. How could I have believed there was? If you're doing something, you ought to hurry, Mom says. She's finished and come back to my side. He's just about to strike. Is her mouth watering? Is she longing for the day she tastes such pleasure? I say, I always feared he would come back all those years he was gone. Did I ever tell you? Sadly, she says, I guess I never let you tell me anything bad like that. I wanted to hear you were happy. He's kissing the woman's neck. It's too late. I move anyway, pulling back the table. Pull a spindle from my chair. I see one loose, Mom says. I do. It cracks off sharp, just like I want. And shut the door behind you, please. I'm not strong yet. I do it. It's all so much clearer outside. Hadn't realized how blurred our window was. Moonlight. But there in shadow. Dad must hear me, but the woman doesn't. She arches back and all I see is ropey neck. Dad's got his face in her breasts and is moving up. Don't, I say. He hears. Not here. It isn't polite to do it here. He turns to me. Because you've been so respectful, hiding, laughing. Oh, what's going on, Virgil? The woman says, suddenly sober. Nothing to worry about, says Dad. I'm close now. The spindle in my hand's not hidden. You want to get out of my face, says the woman. Run, I say, knowing she won't. Just my crazy daughter, Dad says, turning his prey toward the house. Moonlight hits her face, so I see how happy she is. And I lunge at him. Of course, he slips away. She's asking what's going on, starting to sound a little shrill. Oh, he can't bear a sharp-voiced woman. And just like that, he has her on the ground in deep shadow. She emits a short scream. I need help, but there isn't any help. I do it, though. Raise back and spear right through his back, hard as I can. Good thing he took off the biker jacket. There's a sizzling sound, but the woman has my attention now. She's struggling out from under him. I'm helping. I feel her blood, but I don't know how much there is. She feels strong. She rises and stumbles up the steps. From the shed, a yowling. I go to open the door. Is it over? Mom says. I take the flashlight. It's over. He's a flattened plaid shirt, flattened jeans, and ash. She's beside me in a moment. It's never over. Not really. The ground is special here. The flashlight shows blood on the steps. Thick spills, not spatters. You're free now. You should go, says Mom, not sounding hopeful. How can I and leave this mess? There's a rustle over by the rack of a gate. We turn. Just coming to see what all the fuss is, says Mr. Greenway. The missus and Woody follow, moving carefully round the motorcycle. We thought you might need a little help, says Mrs. Greenway. Get this bike out of here for starters. I can do that, says the mister. He's stroking its seat. Maybe he rode something like it long ago. Mrs. Greenway is already picking up Dad's clothes. She grips my hand. I hear the Dane lapping at the porch. Woody wants to help. He can help with what's inside, too. I can help with that, says Mom, rubbing against my ankle. I hear the water flowing in her mouth. She can't wait. It's Virginia there, isn't it? Your mom? Says Mrs. Greenway, squinting. I haven't seen her without shades in years. She hugs me around the shoulders, tells me it will all be all right. I fall into that warmth and think, I'll never get out. I laugh, shrill and mocking, hateful, bitter, sweet, relieved laughter, and all of them join. I'll never have to leave. It's over. It's just the beginning.
That was Christi Nogle's Bitter Makes the Sweet So Sweet, as read by Josie Babin. Living in that formerly abandoned house on the corner, the one across the street from the cemetery, the one with all those cats lounging about, you will find Josie, happily narrating horror stories. No one has seen her human companion lately, but the cats do look well fed. Not that those things have anything to do with one another. In between stories, she works on a long list of house projects and car projects. But best of all, she gets to work on lab projects, growing cells into medicine, hopefully making the world a little healthier in the not-so-far-off future. If you're ever in San Diego, stop by to say hi. She'll introduce you to her cats. Thank you, Josie. Well, children of the night, the hour is late, and we've run out of tales to tell. For now. Tales to Terrify is made possible by the tremendous generosity of our supporters on Patreon and PayPal. Incredible fans like Lestle Baxter, Amanda Carrillo, Amanda Gottfried, and Orion D. Hegre, whose generous support keeps these lights on and flickering ominously. If you're not a supporter, head over to patreon.com/Tales to Terrify. You'll find all kinds of perks, like ad-free episodes, bonus content, and one-of-a-kind collectibles. Every dollar goes back into this show, and we appreciate your support so much. Want another way to support the show that doesn't cost you a cent? Head over to Podchaser, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and drop us a 5-star review. You'll not only put an unnaturally wide smile on our faces, but help new listeners discover our terrifying tales, too. You can show your love of the show out in the world with some Tales to Terrify merch. TalesToTerrify.com/merch will take you to our TeePublic store, where we've got a great collection of creepy custom and curated designs. Tales to Terrify is produced by Seth Williams, Meredith Morgenstern, Andrew Gibson, Crystal Hammond, Spencer Disparty, and myself, Drew Sebastini, with original theme by Nebulous Entertainment. Tales to Terrify is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Join us again next week as we embrace the creeping madness with more Tales to Terrify.